Hey guys, today a little guide about the Aggro Druid Deck in the current Hearthstone ladder. Yeah, it's in a very strong position, the deck. So if you want to start to climb next month to the rank that you want to achieve, even possible or easily possible legend if you want, then try out this deck. It's the current state of the ladder is, Thief Rogue and Poison Rogue got nerfed very hard in the last balance patch this week. On Monday, I think, or Tuesday. So, yeah, the ladder is a little bit shaky. Like always, after a balance patch, the aggro decks are taking over. Aggro decks, I mean, like Aggro Druid, Beast Druid, Face Hunter. I think Libram Pala is also in a good state. Freeze Elemental Shaman is in a good state because the Freeze Elemental Shaman is good against Aggro Druid and Beast Druid. So yeah, let me in the background you see a gameplay with this deck against the Priest. Right now, I had a very good mulligan, but I just show you the tier list. Here you can see that at the moment, yeah, Freeze Elemental Shaman on first, Libram Parlor, Aggro Druid, Face Hunter, Beast Druid. So also other decks are still possible to play. Quest Warrior, but I would not recommend it. It's easy to play, but okay. Quest and Warlock is pretty good. Also a pretty good deck at the moment. And so on and so on. So Ping Mage also very common these days. Mosaki Mage got also nerfed hard or semi hard, but seems like uh it was pretty hard for the deck. The flow nerf. I was not expecting that, but okay. So yeah, tier 1 decks. Freeze Elemental Shaman, Libram Pala, Aggro Druid, Face Hunter, Beast Druid. With all of these decks, you can easily achieve the rank that you want. Not this month anymore, because only 2 days left, so I talk about the next month. But maybe you can take the last 2 days for getting a little bit practice with one of these decks. At the moment, I would recommend Aggro Druid because, yeah, it's easy to play, it's fun to play. Um, is it hard to master? Yeah, at the end, like every deck, okay, because you need a very good decision making, but that's how Hearthstone is at the end. It's all about decision making. When do you go face? When you clear the enemy board? What do you buff up? How many minions you play? Because maybe the enemy has a board clear, things like this. But that's all about. So it's a lot of matchup knowledge at the end of the day to play this deck successful. Yeah, a little bit of strengths and weaknesses about the deck is I think it's everybody knows it at the end of the day. What is the strength of an aggro deck? Strength of an aggro deck is the early game, maybe mid game, you're early in mid game, but yeah, you have no late game cards. You will see it in a few seconds that the only card that you have that I think that the highest mana cost is 5. So yeah, you have no late game with this deck. But usually you don't need it because you play aggro. So what you're doing is overwhelming the enemy, also maybe pushing him into bad decision making, what is definitely good working in the lower ranks till platin or something like this. On the higher level of rankings like legend or high legend, the people are much better in decision making, so maybe you cannot force them so much to make mistakes with playing aggro. Yeah, so the weakness is for sure you have no late game. There is, as I said, the highest cost card is Arbor Up for 5 mana. It's definitely a strong card. It's definitely a good finisher. For 5 mana, it's a very, very, very good card. When you have 3 minions or more on the board and you summon 2 more, yeah, that's just it's impressive. It's crazy. Um, yeah, but besides that, you you have no late game, so the late game is definitely the weakness. But I mean, at the end, it has to have a weakness like every deck, besides Poison Rogue, uh, has to has to have a weakness. So it's not something that you complain about. Right now in the gameplay, you see that I put the Arbor up and look at this. It's okay, 8 mana, so it's like, yeah, people can play good cards, good minions or whatever, or good spells, but you see, I have 6 super strong minions on the board, 2 with taunt, so at the end, the enemy can do like nothing. But okay, now let's come to the next point. It's the mulligan. The mulligan. Let me show it to here. That's the deck at the end of the day. Let us talk a little bit about the mulligan here, especially. It's the it's pretty easy with this deck because at the end of the day you have a lot of cheap cards, so many cards are okay to have it in the starting hand. Yeah, there are some bad cards like Arbor Up or the minion that you let me search it. This one for sure. You never want to have the Encumbered Mule on your starting hand because when you draw it, it gives you a copy. It's super strong. This deck has, yeah, a lot of things like this, that it gives you a copy. Like also the Elune gives you a copy of something. This one can you give you a copy if you put it to a taunt minion on a taunt minion. So things like this, and you have card drawing with the Peasant. So what you want for the mulligan at the end, Trogg and Peasant. When you have both of these cards, you have a super strong first two turns. It's crazy. Or one of this is first turn is super crazy because you know how annoying the Trogg can be. The enemy has to think really hard about what he's doing to delete it, and the Peasant gives you card draw. So when the Peasant is 2 or 3 rounds on the board, think about 1 mana. You have a 2/1 minion that maybe when it's living 2 or 3 rounds makes 4 or 6 damage to the enemy hero and gives you 2 3 cards. That's amazing. Okay, for sure. Also, this card is good for the starting hand. So maybe this 3 would be the perfect mulligan, but it's hard to have the perfect mulligan, you know. Besides that, you see it's dropping then 10% less, so that means like these 3 cards, you want them really hard. The Trogg is the best at the end of the day. Then the Peasant, then the Battleguard. Besides that, also some other cheap minions that you can have that are okay to have it in the hand, and only 3 4 cards that you don't want to have in the starting hand because this deck is, like I said, mana cost side super cheap. Okay. Um Matchups. As I said, you can win every matchup with this deck at the moment. Because when you have kind of perfect early game, it's hard to compete against the Aggro deck these days, especially Aggro Druid. Freeze Elemental Shaman is definitely strong against the Aggro Druid because he can freeze your board not only one time, and you know that. And if you play a lot of minions, his freezing minion gets even stronger. You know that elemental that I'm talking about. So what does that mean? The Quest Hand Warlock is also pretty good against Aggro Druid, but I think that's the only 2 decks that are really strong against Aggro Druid. But even these matchups you can win with a good early game, definitely. Um, yeah, and you saw it has a very strong, very good win rate at the moment. It's like it's possible to climb on every rank that you want to achieve these days with this deck, definitely. So a lot of good matchups, only 1 2 3 bad matchups, but these bad matchups, they are not unwinnable, they are just not good for you. A little bit info about the deck himself. It's super cheap, just 4,500 dust, so usually everybody has Drek'Thar. That makes it even more cheap. So just 3000 dust and you can hit legend easily. So I think maybe it's legend was never more cheap to achieve with this deck. It's crazy and it's really fun to play. How you play the deck, as I said, very strong early game, putting a lot of minions, buffing them up, and yeah, finishing with Arbor Up, composting on the minions when you have 3 or 4 on the board to draw more cards. So it has card draw this deck, like composting, like the Peasant. It can give you copies, like this can give you a copy, the Elune can give you a copy. Elune is a very, very strong card in this deck, so you have to think about how to play around. Usually you don't play it on turn 3, just put it on the on the field. You want to play it with more than, yeah, with that you play another minion that it's just copying, getting copied then. So can you change cards on this deck? Only a little bit, but I would not recommend it. I think this deck list is pretty common. This deck list is how it works. There's this one legendary card, Kakatsuas or something like this. I even forgot the name. You can put it inside, but I would not really recommend it. Play this deck list. It's cheap. It's working. It's fun, and you definitely stay consistent with this deck in the next 1, 2, 3 weeks, or like I said, in the next month, and you definitely can achieve the rank that you want. You saw 2 games against Priest, both pretty easy wins. So guys, enjoy the deck, have fun, and good luck. Follow and subscribe if you want. Bye bye.